except for public holidays, which I don't think we have in this month. Definitely.
Of countries have now sort of become banana republics, as they call them. So these banana republics basically solely rely on the exportation of the primary product in their country. So we have countries like Zambia, Botswana, Honduras that are exporting their primary product out, and they're solely, the economy is solely dependent on the exports. Can you imagine that? So they're not dependent on any of the products they have coming in within the country. So this neocolonialism sips down all the way to the very minute level.
Well, of course, with that said, and of course the debt burdens that that happen, the debts that we usually have, there's a way it actually corrupts us, you know, because at the end of the day we have to it has become a habit.
It's crazy, and we're starting to wonder how are these countries maintaining this neo-colonialism after all these years, right? You're wondering how, if all these countries are waking up now, how have these countries been able to maintain it? We're seeing here that more broadly, neo-colonial governance is seen as operating through indirect forms, right? Indirect forms of control, and in particular by means of economic, financial, and trade policies of transnational corporations and global and multilateral institutions. So it's heavily sipped into the different institutions, the trade policies, and transnational corporations. And this is how it's maintained all the years.
This is how it is maintained, actually, because someone will be like, you know what, I'm coming to invest in your country, and of course I see the resources that you have. Good. At the end of the day, there are a lot of victims in the country.
Right.
The locals, much as employment opportunities are created, but then, you know, they can't go, you know, they were in Uganda, and people are like, oh no, we can't close out on investors because they cannot, you know, they cannot facilitate if it's maybe 600,000. Well, Uganda, no, because man, they're used to paying them 100K.
Exactly, they're exploiting workers.
Workers.
That's a very good point that you brought up, because there's minimum wage in other countries. A certain level you can't go below to pay somebody a standard fee, a market fee that you can't go below. But you're finding here, as long as someone negotiates, pays you 100K, and you're doing work worth 1 million, and you're only being paid 100,000 Uganda shillings, they're exploiting you because there's no structure, and the government hasn't been able to align that minimum wage and that market price for the people, so they're not protected. And we're seeing here, how does this neocolonialism really affect the country? Start to see that the more technology advances, nations ensure their involvement with low-income nations. So with the low-income nations, especially with the advancement in technology, these nations are being able to see, can I thrive on my own economy? Can I start to put in myself and grow, as opposed to being solely reliant on this from foreign countries?
So, I mean, the possible solution is trying to encourage the African integration, you know, African quantitative free trade area, would trade within, then we could, you know, such, now that there is carbon credits and all that, we could, you know, do that. It could be...
Yes, some interrelation amongst African countries, right? I love the summits that are happening between Uganda and South Africa, the trade summit that happened. I love the climate summit that will happen in Kenya. The more we have these conversations amongst Africans, there might be ways in which, and the East African Union that's happening board, Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo, and to be able to have these conversations within our own borders, right? Within our own countries, within our own continent, might be a step in being able to alleviate a lot of this foreign trade.
You see, the funny thing about Niger, and they were trying to sanction. So you see that there is a lot of training that is happening. One country wants to do something totally different, and the other is like, no. What are you trying to do? What are you trying to do? We are solely dependent on these guys. If they go, we are doomed.
Yes, and we're seeing here that, of course, investment under neocolonialism increases rather than decreases the gap between the rich and the poor countries in the world. So it's almost like an agenda to constantly keep us at our feet, to constantly keep us at bay, whilst they continue to advance. We're using our own raw product, our own raw materials by these foreign countries. They continue to advance while we continue to almost degrade or go backwards.
So anyway, more discussions are going to be rotating about neocolonialism, how African can actually find means, African economies can find means of surviving without neocolonialism. We're trying to do as much as we can to do with this, Niger is leading by example of late, it's the one trending. So how about we also ditch out, like, no, we don't need you. Yes. We don't need you, we can survive on our own. Yes, once we get
actually start to build from the ground up, and it's going to take a lot of effort, a lot of work. But we need to be able to take from the ground up.
China and the US. There is a way China actually evolved. Isn't it the second?
China was able to separate itself and focus on its own people, its own labor, its own productivity as a country, and be able to. Told the president that working with security groups such as Special Forces Command during operations has helped them recover guns and arrest panga-wielding thugs in their area.
The ministry actually has tasked schools to begin lessons today. Today, if you didn't report yesterday, or if you're planning to report today, you're going to find the students in class already studying, because it's third term. There's no need for wasting time. Anyway, story, Kadaga, that is the Minister for East African Affairs, Rebecca Kadaga, of course, the first Deputy Prime Minister, saying, claiming credit for tax-free diapers. Now, the former Speaker of Parliament, Rebecca Kadaga, has said that she blocked taxes on diapers on account of identifying with poor women
an agriculture economy. It's pushing all these, right? It's pushing all these strategies in terms of bolstering the economy. How are we not bolstering our own tourism sector? And we have a lot to offer. So that will be a very good move. If we have direct flights to the destination, it will be able to bolster our economy. And we're also seeing here in the national news, experts want scholarships to public universities reviewed. Can you imagine that?
Oh,
so,
by the way, do you
yes.
know those scholarships actually favor the... I don't know how they do this really. And you
They
get
favor they favor those that you know.
Yeah.
Who knows who, as we know in Uganda.
Anyway, right about now we're getting into the traffic update. Good morning, Andrew. How is it
Well,
there
thank
in the
you
morning?
very much. And of course, coming live right here are the Ginger Road traffic lights. So definitely bringing you the traffic updates of what is really transpiring. Now, it's quite a cold Monday. And of course, maybe just to remind you that today is also a back-to-school day, as majority of the schools are actually reporting back. Majority of the students are reporting back to school. So the situation is a little bit just like the way you can actually see. Now, getting straight into the traffic here, just on my way back there, that is the access road.